Every December, there's one gift category that's consistently popular for the holidays. New tech. Smartphones, iPads, smart rings, even smartwatches designed just for kids. Go back 20 years, and many of us were living in the tech stone age. From mini iPods to physical keypad flip phones, these devices were simple. Today, our smartphones unlock instant access to anywhere and everywhere, and many kids are getting these keys as early as third grade. A recent study from Pew Research Center shows that the median age when kids receive their first phone is now just 9 years old. In recent years, there's been a lot of debate about exactly when is the right age to give your child a phone. How young is too young?
It used to be the American Academy of Pediatrics recommended 1 hour a day of screen time or 2 hours a day for older kids. But the truth of the matter is nowadays that's actually impossible. Kids are on their computer for school. They're on their computer when they come home for their homework. And that's also how kids are socializing. And the pandemic just escalated that. So it's more now about talking about screen free time and how we can build that into our day because screens are just ubiquitous. They're everywhere.
That's Catherine Perlman, a licensed clinical social worker and the author of the book First Phone, A Child's Guide to Digital Responsibility, Safety, and Etiquette. She says every family is different, but waiting until high school to hand over that first device isn't as common as it once was. Far fewer places have public phones now, and more kids and teens rely on their phones for after-school and weekend activities, navigation, and staying safe, like if they're walking home from school alone.
We used to say wait as long as possible, but 13, 14 is actually way too late. First of all, they've already had access on their iPads or their friends' phones by that time. And they're also much less likely to be interested in hearing from their parents or being educated or being monitored at 13 and 14. So I think somewhere between 10, 11, 12 is a great age going into middle school. Some kids, it might make sense for the kid and the family a little earlier, and for some kids, maybe a little later, but around sixth grade is a great time.
With a new device comes a different kind of responsibility. Kids and teens are navigating group chats, unfamiliar apps, and are vulnerable to social media algorithms designed to keep them swiping. That's why Perlman stresses that adults should set accessibility and privacy settings right when they unwrap the new phone.
These things are really helpful because honestly, phones and apps, they're made to draw our attention in. There's so many bells and whistles. There's so many notifications. And so it's really hard to just on our own merit put the phone down and leave it down. So we need those things. And the other thing is to limit notifications. Kids absolutely do not need to be notified when somebody likes something or shares something of their content. They don't need to have texts coming through all the time unless it's from the people that you identify as the most important. So even just limiting that, then it means that kids are not just going to be glancing at their phone all day, every day, because they're notified all the time. But maybe they're just doing it when they have a downtime or they have some free time or it is screen time. Then they can go on and look at those things.
Some phones also offer dashboards that show what kind of content your child is viewing, who they're interacting with, and how much time they're spending online. According to a 2023 report by Common Sense Media, the average U.S. teen now racks up almost 9 hours of screen time every day. And this doesn't count time online for homework. Meanwhile, the American Academy of Pediatrics warns that having a phone in the bedroom is linked to shorter sleep duration and poorer sleep quality in kids and teens. Pediatricians recommend keeping devices out of the room overnight whenever possible. And these rules also apply to adults, too. Experts say that beyond physical settings and limits, kids take their biggest cues from the behavior modeled around them. If parents struggle to disconnect themselves, it's hard to expect kids to follow stricter boundaries. Perlman says it's important to make space for open and non-judgmental conversations about being online.
Browse with your kids, see what they're interested in, do it with them. Talk to them about likes and shares and comments and how that can go wrong and how our self-value comes from doing other things, and have those discussions long before they get their own social media. And then by the time they are 13 and they maybe dabble in one or two, you don't have to give them all. And maybe, again, you do it with them and you monitor it with them so that they can build good habits. And then you can set them a little bit more free to do as they want when they're 16, 17 years old.
Privacy and adult content restrictions are also important. On an iPhone, you can go in and limit TV or movie show viewings to only show selections with specific ratings, like G or PG. This also applies if you want to filter out videos, podcasts, or movies with explicit content. Google's Safe Search and YouTube's Supervised Experience offer similar settings.
Kids are curious, so it's just natural inclination to just, oh, let me just Google this word I heard that I don't even know what it means, or something silly with my friends. But the problem is sometimes that can bring up something that kids aren't ready for. It could be pornography, it could be upsetting images. And the other thing is kids don't really understand the difference between information that they see that's fact, something that's propaganda, or something that's opinion. And so it's helpful to give kids some guidelines about, first of all, being mindful about what you Google. Stop for 1 second and say, is this something I'm ready for? If you do see something that's upsetting, that say it's okay to talk to a grown-up about it. And as a parent, say, I will remain calm. I promise I will not freak out, but you can always come to me and I will help you through that. And I will not shame you or embarrass you for something that is a healthy inclination to be interested in things and to look something up online.
Kids also need to know how to react when something feels off. That includes inappropriate messages, bullying, or unexpected contact from strangers, and the risks have amplified these days. The Federal Communications Commission reports that text message scam complaints have surged recently, and they're harder to spot as fake. Perlman says families should emphasize openness over punishment. Kids need to feel comfortable coming forward and understand that it's okay if they made a mistake.
We're getting notifications that, UPS needs something or Netflix needs our password, and that's not really coming from those companies. And I think the best way to educate kids is to show them real life examples of these things. So if you get something that looks fishy, show it to your kid and explain, oh, I took a second to look at the sender and it's not a real website, so I didn't click on it. Or I know that no one will ever ask me for my password on a text messages, so I knew that that wasn't real.
As a parent, it might feel like this is a lot of information at once to go through with your child, but Perlman says it shouldn't be approached as a one-and-done conversation, but rather viewed as a continuous, open dialogue. As adolescents get older, screen limits and restrictions can always be edited. The number of devices they're using may also expand, and that could lead to more adjustments. At the end of the day, there is no universal right age, device, or rule book, but there are strategies that can help parents feel more confident in their child's safety, development, and well-being. To learn more about this topic and our guest, Catherine Perlman, visit viewpointsradio.org. You can also find links to resources and guides on how to set parental controls on both iPhone and Android devices. For more behind-the-scenes content, follow Viewpoints Radio on Instagram, Facebook, and X. This segment was written by our executive producer, Amira Zaveri. Our studio manager is Jason Dickey. I'm Gary Price.